Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our NYSED Word on the Street podcast. I am the community school director here at PS 1610. I am Nigel Wyatt, and as you can see, we have two lovely guests.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm the social worker with NYSED at PS 10.
And I'm Emily. I'm a social worker and mentor with NYSED at PS 16.
I feel so safe. These are our social workers, so I feel like if I had anything I needed help with, I'm in good hands at the present moment.
I think so.
I
hope say so.
I believe so. So this episode, we're going to discuss traditions. You know, traditions is something that many of us have, many different cultures have. It's interesting. Some mirror each other. Some are a little different. So, you know, what are some customs and traditions that are important in your culture?
In my culture, so I guess we cook a lot of Spanish foods, different Spanish foods. I always help my mom cook, or my mom will come to my house and we'll cook together. It could be like arroz and, I don't know, pernil, or it can be, I don't know, mashed potatoes, anything. So we'll have enough food for like a whole week, and then we'll just get tired of eating the same thing. So we just cook a lot of food. We listen to Spanish music. It always starts off with like cleaning the house first, making sure it's all nice, spick and span. And then, yeah, we'll just get into cooking, and we'll be there for like maybe 2 days cooking food and, you know, setting everything up for the day of any celebration like Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that.
When you're saying Spanish, are we talking like Dominican Spanish, Puerto Rican Spanish? Are we talking Spaniard Spanish? Because I know the Spaniard Spanish got that good old paella. Sometimes they have it with like the meat, like the chicken, the pork, or they have the seafood paella, which is, I feel sorry for those who have shellfish allergies. I just be like, thank you, I appreciate you. Which one?
I mean, so my family is Dominican and Puerto Rican, so it's a mix of that. Mostly. No Spain or Spanish food, like just
Emily,
Puerto Rican, Dominican.
I think we need an invite.
I know.
She has the best of both worlds. How about you? How about you and your culture?
For me, so my family is mostly Italian. So pretty much I feel like one of our main traditions is just spending holidays together, and that kind of focusing on family, like just having a lot of time with family, always being together with our family, whether that's my immediate family and my extended family too, and also cooking as well as a part of that, like making sure we're together for Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, all those holidays. And like some of my, I feel like earliest memories are like waking up in the morning and my grandma and my mom cooking, and then us kind of helping them with that, and just making everything so we're prepared for the rest of the day to spend time together.
See, I said I was surrounded by good hands. Over here, we have the arroz con, what did you say? Gandules? Con pollo?
Yeah.
We don't do the pernil over here, no pork on the fork. However, everything else. And then over here, we can come to the Italian big family. So that this is, like I said, I'm in around great company. I'm around greatness as far as food is concerned, for sure. In my family, we actually is West Indian, so it's a lot of macaroni and cheese, rice and beans, collard greens, lasagna, potatoes, fried turkey, baked turkey, curry chicken, curry shrimp. It's everything. Right. And I kind of be looking at them like, I can't do this anymore. Right? Like that's what we're talking about today, right? Like the cultures, the traditions, and do they even fit anymore? And I think for me, I love that aspect of it, like the family coming together. I just don't eat like that anymore, right? Like I do not eat like that anymore. I remember like looking at the spread, eating, and then feeling like I needed to go to sleep right away. Now, how I eat now, I've decided to change, like certain health decisions I've made, I eat a little differently, so it's a little different. So would you say that you, are these traditions important to you? Do you want to keep some of them? Do you think you should change some of them? What do you think?
For the most part, mine are the same. It just went from a large gathering to more of like immediate family. So yeah, I mean, everything's the same. We still cook a lot, but it's for less people now.
That's interesting. Would you? So what I hear you saying is, that's my social work hat, right? what I hear you saying is that it went from a large gathering to more of like an intimate setting, and both of them have their strengths and weaknesses. What would you say you like most about the intimate setting?
You could talk more with like your immediate family. So I feel like we'll talk more about things that relate to like all of us, you know, as a family, rather than just like things that don't matter to us on like a day-to-day basis. So I think like that's more like better for us because we don't really sit around the table. We all live separately now. So like when we're all together, we always have like different conversations or like, you know, just anything, what's new, what's happening. You have something to talk about now more than if you're like with each other all the time. Yeah. So.
How about you? You listen, big Italian.
Yeah.
Jenna, I already know.
Yeah. It's so it stayed the same, kind of like what you said too. It's similar, but now it's less people, I would definitely say. So as we've gotten older and my siblings got older and now people are getting married and moving out. And so I feel like we still do try to spend that time together and have like the holidays together especially, but we are finding that, or at least I'm finding that I think less people are making it all the time. So like whether, you know, my brother or sister might go to their in-laws' house or something like that. So maybe it's just me and my mom for a certain point. So they look a little different, I feel, with who's there, but we're still trying to have that time where we know that, like, okay, on a holiday, at least I'm going to be with my mom or my aunt or whoever it is, trying to still spend time with family. And for me, too, I feel like now I've been having holidays where I'll go and spend it with my boyfriend's family, who's also Italian, but they're more traditional, and they have their own traditions that I never had. So for Christmas, they spend a whole day, like, making cookies. So Christmas cookies, rainbow cookies, vanilla nut cookies, like, all of those, and we do that, like, all day long, and I like never did it before, so the first time I did it, it was like insane to me, but it's like so fun, and that's something that I now look forward to.
Emily just threw a curveball in this. Now we mixed in a whole nother family.
I know.
I'm gonna throw a curveball. Now, what do you do now if? Because traditions are great if you're like, oh, I'm with this, I'm looking forward to this, right? Like you finally get off from work, you're finally getting with family. What happens if you don't particularly like the tradition that they follow? Like, I don't want to go paint some cookies, or I don't
Right.
like my family's always doing like, oh, well, let's try this, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. This is my time off. How do you handle that?
I don't know. That's been a little challenging for me too, especially like kind of what you were saying before with food. So I don't eat pork either. And Easter, my mom's always making a ham. Like she's always making a ham, and I just know she's making the ham, and I just have to prepare myself to like, okay, what am I gonna eat today? But it's their tradition, and she still sticks with it. So I just kind of have to like adjust myself and make sure like I have something to eat. But yeah, I mean, like for me, it's not something I typically enjoy anymore. But I also know it means a lot to like her and my family, and that's something they've done for a while. So I don't want them to have to compromise. So I'll just kind of make sure like I know I'm eating something. It might not be that, but figuring that out for myself really.
Right.
Have you crossed those waters yet?
I mean, I get like
You're
my
just
mom.
going with the flow.
No, like my mom, she'll make like a ham too, but I don't eat that. So like, but we'll also like make turkey or make benin or we'll make chicken, something different, because we just want to make sure everyone's like included in that. But like,
Oh, that's good. I guess they're making the best of both worlds.
Right.
Me, I'm kind of, I wouldn't say I'm a rebel, but I'd be like, nah, I'm not touching it, not touching it. And everyone, they understand me to be that now, so they're just like, Nigel's just being Nigel. And you know what's an interesting thing? Like in my family, people do, like sometimes people are in, sometimes people are out. And we kind of just, if they bring someone new, we kind of like, we almost break them into the group per se. And we also have a mixture of, we have like a hybrid. So we have, it'll be a huge gathering, like a lot of people coming from all over. So we have family almost, our meeting spot is upstate New York. And we have family coming from South Jersey. Sometimes the family from Virginia comes. Some new faces, some old faces. But no matter how big the gathering is, there's still like always that one table where a pocket of like maybe 5 people go off and have like serious conversation, and that's where we have our like building sessions, and we're really, as slang we say, chopping it up, which is conversing for the audience out there. And that's when we're talking about the more serious issues, the more like, that's where you can really be real. Like, listen, how are you? Oh, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. Or you're having those type of conversations where, you know, it's uplifting you, it's edifying you. So moving on, how have these traditions grown? Have you added anything to them? Have you taken some things away? I know. Unfortunately, we still have the infamous hams.
Yes, they're still there. Unfortunately, I would like those to go away, but not anytime soon, at least. I would say though something that has changed, at least for me, is that like we're still having these things, like I said before, like we're meeting for Christmas, we're all getting together, but sometimes now we're meeting or we're having it at like a different location. So I think that's a little bit different. Like typically it would be our house, like we would be hosting, my parents would be cooking, my grandma, my aunt, my whole family would be over. But now, you know, everybody kind of has their own lives and their own families. So like now my sister is starting to host Christmas, my brother hosts Christmas Eve, which is really nice to get to go there and to see what that, I guess, newer tradition is like, spending it at their house. And also to not have that much of the responsibility anymore has been nice, where we don't have to be like cooking as much, at least. No more cleaning really either, which is nice. I'll help, but you know, at least it's not like at our house and we're like fully responsible for like everything that's going on. So it's new to see those roles change, but it's nice also to have like a new aspect to that tradition.
That's a huge aspect. That's another curveball, and here's why. Because we have that too, and the vibe of the event changes depending on the house that it's at.
Yeah, definitely.
Like completely. Like I have one of my cousins. I make fun. He's not like this. I'm gonna go on record and say he's not like this. I just make fun of him. I'm like, oh, it's at Bougie Cuzzo's house. All right, everybody take your shoes off. Don't touch nothing. And I just make these, like he knows I'm just being me, so he doesn't take it personal. But the vibe is definitely different. It's way more. It's kind of like, listen, did you put that glass down without a coaster? You better put a napkin down. And he don't be tripping, but I think, you know, the house is so nice. We kind of like, the vibe is different. How about you?
I mean, pretty much the same thing. So, like, we used to go over to like our family's house, but now it's either me, like my house, or it's my mom's house. Since it's more intimate now, so like we'll go to her house for Christmas, they'll come to my house for Thanksgiving, and we'll just go back and forth like that. So like when I go to my mom's house, I don't have to really be doing anything. But when they come to my house, I have to do everything. But like for me, I'm more like relaxed, we're more chill. We like to play music while we do that, you know, or watch movies, things like that. And then when we go to my mom's house, she's more like, I need help with this and things like that. So like I have to help her there, but we don't have to like really do much. But they like to play music too, just really loud. And, you know, we'll just dance or, you know, cook at the same time, eat, things like that. And we'll talk about like anything that we need to talk about.
Is there dancing going on at yours?
Not much dancing. No, I wish there was though.
Oh, no.
I'd like that in there somewhere, but no, not much dancing. A lot of eating and talking, which is good, but not a lot of moving around.
Mine is moving around. But you know what I do? Here's the trick. Maybe we shouldn't air this. This is the life hack. There always needs to be pictures of these events. I'm always the one behind the camera.
Same.
You cannot. So then you're already up on it. Jess is already up on it. That's literally like a little hack.
I didn't know. Now I know. I gotta try that next
Try
time.
it,
Yeah.
try it. I mean, hopefully none of the family tunes in. Don't give them
Yeah.
don't give them where this is airing. Let's just keep this in house. But that is the hack. Like they'll be dancing and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta take a picture. I'm like, hey, pose. And then I'm catching a bunch of candids, and then I kind of like send it to everyone. But that's definitely part of it. The truth is, I don't want to dance.
Yeah.
It's not what I want to do. So, have you let go of some of these traditions and started new ones? I think for me as well, what we started to do was not wait till the typical traditions. I think the older generation, like our family, and that's one thing I love about my family. Like, every family has their issues, right? I think the older generation, they're more stuck on like the issues. Our generation, we kind of, even though we might have issues, we'll still get together. The older generation, they're so stubborn. They're like, oh, I'm not going around this person. I'm like, we still just hang out, and then we'll, apart from the typical, like huge holidays, we've started our own stuff where we'll go out and do family, like legit family events. So we've gone upstate. We've done, it's actually we went snowmobiling before. We've got everyone together. We've gone, I forgot what it's called, but it's like a bike on a train track, and you're like pedaling.
Wow.
So that was like, and you're pedaling through like country. Right. So that was very interesting. So we've kind of invented our own, and then even within, I'm infamous for coming up with different type of games. So I don't know how this came to me one day, but we just had a bottle of water, and I was like, all right, we got to drink the bottle of water without touching it. You got to hold it over, and you got to pick it up like that, hands behind the back. And that was watching people almost drown in a bottle of water is straight comedy. So have you changed anything, brought anything, like any new to an existing tradition, or started your own? Because we're adults now, so technically we could,
No, but like we'll watch movies. Like so, like for Halloween, we'll watch scary movies. For Christmas, we'll watch like Elf. It's my favorite movie, or like The Grinch. Any like Christmas movie. So I mean that's pretty much it. Just like the movies we'll watch after we're done eating. We'll like relax, watch a movie, and then like have dessert.
Okay.
I don't know if I brought anything to like my families, I would say, but maybe to my boyfriends. I feel like ever since we have been dating, I've kind of been a part of their traditions, and especially the cookie making that I said before. I've become like a part of that, which has been really nice, and it's been great for them to like welcome me into that, but also like get my own responsibility. So like I'm decorating. That's my job. I'm decorating the cookies, and they know I'm decorating every year, and that's just become my role in the process. And this year actually is also like one of the first times where my parents or my mom and my aunt want to go out to eat for Thanksgiving. So like we've never done that before. They usually, like my aunt usually hosts and we go there and they cook and everything, but they just don't want to do it this year, which I understand. It's a lot of work. So they want to go out to eat. So for the first time, I'm going to be joining my boyfriend's family for their Thanksgiving. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing how different it is, but also like how it's just exciting. I never got to join them for that too. So it's going to be new and I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing. So one of the other things we have is, and you kind of answered it already, actually. Have they? Because that's it can be tough for an outsider, like coming in and being open to doing something that they normally wouldn't. What's some of the ways that you might have like pulled people in? Because there is a saying I've heard one time. It was a powerful saying. It was like, we always call people out, but we never invite people in. And that was a saying more so to, it's like it's better. You'll get more common ground when you actually pull people in and invite people in rather than calling something out or speaking against something. So, what are some of the ways that you feel your family like invites people in?
I mean, I don't know. My parents are just like, if I have a friend and I'll be like, oh, you want to come over, join us. They're more than welcome to like, they'll meet you, they'll say hi, things like that. I mean, they're pretty open to anybody. They'll like to show people like what they make that may be different, or like have someone try something new, food wise, or just like, maybe try a new dance that you've never done, just things like that. They're pretty open. So I guess that's how, like, just by me knowing the person. If you've never like been to like a Hispanic household, they'll be like, oh yeah, come in and like just try our foods, try different things, and that's pretty much like what they do.
Are they one of those like try our food? And they're like, nah. I'm like, no, you have to try this, and they just like.
No, they won't force you, but like if you want to try it and you want to try something different, then they'll.
Nice persuasion.
Right.
No. Okay.
No.
How about you?
I would definitely say my mom just kind of like welcomes people with open arms. Like she's very much like that. Like if she hears anybody's gonna be alone or like doesn't have plans for a holiday, like she's always like, just join us, like come. So sometimes like my siblings, their in-laws will join us, and other family members will come if they don't have anything to do, it's nice because then we get to add more people to it and see, how it changes or how it's a little bit different this year. But she's definitely one of those people though. She's forcing food on people, so I don't know if that helps or really hurts when new people are brought in, but yeah, no, you have to try the food. Yeah.
So how do you escape not eating the ham? I know we're coming back to the ham. How have you done
she
it?
knows by now. It's been a couple years. I told her I'm not eating it. She'll make me a chicken cutlet instead. That's what we settled on.
Nice.
We have a little bit of an agreement, so she knows. But if not, then I'll make it myself. But she knows I'm not eating the ham. So everybody else, it's up to them. I'm not touching it.
So you got to give them the secret too. 'Cause
Yeah.
if they come in, she's, I'm pretty
They're eating
sure
the
she's
ham,
like, you
yeah.
gotta eat the ham. No, for mine, my family, honestly, they're not going to see this, so I can be honest. They're nuts. They're absolutely nuts. So I feel like that makes people feel comfortable. Like if they're coming in and they're watching us, like no one's putting on, everyone's literally being themselves. And I don't think we like interrogate people. We do have, it's funny, some like the girl cousins are like, it's almost like we're brother and sister. So anytime someone brings somebody new, we'll every now and then we might like I'll let my hair down, I'll put my hood on, and then I'll have my other cousin I call him twin, so his hair is longer than mine. He looks like the rougher version of me, like the scruffier version. So we'll kind of like walk and we'll get together and be like, listen, let's go. We'll mess with them, mess with the person. So that's kind of how we pull people in, and I think they just feel comfortable, they feel genuine, and we don't look at them any different. Like they come in and they're allowed to go in the food just like how we are. So that's one of the ways that we just invite people in, because at that point in time, it's just about having a good time, and we face a lot at work and everyday life. So that's not a time where you want to go and actually like be on. You just want to relax and like, this is who it is, this is what it is, and everyone kind of just gathers around that. Right. And then it's hard not to fit in when you see everyone laughing and joking and dancing and everything, and no one's looking at you funny like, who are you type of situation. Like people are actually introduced, and there's no ham, so we're good in there. Good. The current beliefs, do they interfere with, like your current beliefs right now, do they interfere with the traditions or how you grew up?
I mean, I guess in a way, like going back to like eating certain things, like, yeah, that's something that interfered with a tradition, because like I'm really the only one who doesn't eat pork anymore in my family. And so like I know that like things, or Easter's coming around, and I'm like, oh, like I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do, because I know the ham's coming, and like other holidays too. Like my mom will switch it up sometimes and want to make something different, but then she's just like, oh, I know you don't eat that. And it's something like too serious. Like I always figure it out, but still, like that definitely could be interfering with it. And food is definitely something that like matters a lot, I would say, in my culture. Just like my mom is very Italian. She loves food. She loves making food. She loves sharing food. So like definitely, if I don't want to eat the food, it becomes a little bit of a problem sometimes. But she gets it by now. So
I don't know about you. I'm looking at Emily different now. Emily clearly is more like wowzers, because now it's making even more sense. She just said she comes from an Italian family. Right. There's like this sausage in the broccoli.
Oh yeah. There's like sausage and peppers. I'm like, no.
It has to be like the veal, the beef, and the pork. Yeah.
No, she's not putting it in there anymore. Yeah, no. She does. I
will
give
her. Mom to change up.
I'll give her credit. She really does. It took a while. She didn't remember for the first 2 years that I didn't eat pork, so that was always a conversation we had to have. But now, I mean, she does adjust every once in a while, which is wonderful. Like I tell her you don't have to, but she does. So I really do appreciate it. But it plays a big part in the food too. So I know that's why when we have big parties, I'm like, just make whatever you want to make. Like I'm fine. I'll figure it out.
Listen, if you got an Italian mom to switch up the way she makes things, that says a lot. How about you?
I mean, I guess. I don't know, because we do a lot of the same things that we've done, like from even when we had the big gatherings. So there's not really much like of a change. My beliefs are still the same. Like I'm still celebrating everything, like, Thanksgiving, Christmas, like I'm still going to celebrate them. Like I said, it's just smaller setting. So it's really just me, my immediate family. Different things that we had to change. My husband doesn't eat like tomatoes. He has like kind of like an allergic reaction with it. Like he'll get like bumps or itchy, things like that. So we have to take tomatoes like out of everything. So like when we make rice, we put like tomato paste, things like that. So he can't have that.
Are
so
you saying you make the tomato-less tomato sauce? Is that what you're telling everyone right now?
No, like he won't eat it. Like we'll have to make something separate. So he'll have like regular pasta while everyone else is having like regular sauce and pasta. So, I mean, like, that's pretty much it. Like, we had to change, I guess, that kind of a little bit, like, the way we made our food. Kind of the same thing like Emily, but, like, it's okay. Like, we'll start, like, making it work. And if anything, we make him something separate.
Interesting. Yeah. Let's switch gears a little bit. So we've been talking a lot about traditions and food and things that, when we're talking about traditions, that's things that you're accustomed to. So apart from food, honestly, like my family, one thing that we've been trying to change, like we're accustomed to, I mentioned earlier, the older generation, they hold on to grudges and stuff like that, right? Our younger generation is trying to break that cycle and do things different. What are some of the things that you think that right now, you as an individual, as you've grown, you've become more mature, you're trying to be your own individual person, that you're trying to get away from or that you have gotten away from. For me and my family, for sure, it's holding on to things, and it is forgiveness. Like right now, I'm on a forgiveness kick, a grant grace kick. So I try not to hold on to stuff. I think that's something that we've been brought up in, like, or constantly talking about the problem. So like if before at the gatherings, it could be talking about this or that. And now like I'll do it in everyday life, but if something is going on, I'll try to break that energy. Like, all right, so tell me what you're grateful for today, or what's the highlight of your day? And that's trying to break the energy of it going in a different direction. And that might not be a tradition, but it has been a custom. You have certain things that, when you start becoming more yourself, that you're trying to break away from and do different than what the family might have been used to doing. Do you have any of those?
Somewhat. I feel like that's also something I like to move away from a little bit. My family, they tend to do that also. We get together and everybody's talking about the same things over and over again. I just kind of remove myself from that. But also another thing that for me came to mind was I know that like when we were younger, especially, my mom would love to bring us to mass for like any kind of holidays or to church. And so we would always do that. And as I got a little bit older, I realized that maybe that wasn't so much for me personally. Like she continued to do that, but she was like, listen, if you don't want to join me, that's fine. So that's something that I think I moved away from as I got older, but she still continues to do. So she has that more for herself now. And then I don't think that for me, like, at least for right now, maybe in the future I would do that again, but I don't know. For right now, no.
Right. Pretty much. Same thing. Like my family used to go to church a lot too. Sunday school, like all of that.
Yep.
So we used to do all of that. We don't really do that anymore, but none of my family really does that anymore. We're more like spiritual, things like that. Like we know things are out there kind of thing, but we're not like going to church that often anymore. We just try to, get away from things that happened in the past. So pretty much the same thing. So like we'll try to not hold grudges, we'll just kind of deal with it in the moment, and then we'll move on, because at the end of the day, we're all family, and we're all going to spend, like a holidays together, talk about whatever we need to talk about, things like that. So yeah, we're pretty much the same thing too.
Switching gears again. That's excellent. So I think one of the positive things that we have brought is that, I have close relationships with all of my cousins and at different times, but I think one thing that we have tried to do is like just that check-in, just to call like, hey, cuz, haven't heard from you in a while, how you doing? And literally that part, because sometimes people are busy, they can't make the function. So one thing that we have brought with each other is just literally that small check-in. We'll have a lengthy conversation. And that's one thing too, like if I talk to, I'm now at the age where I know the older cousin who's older than me, but then I know her kid, which is younger than me. So they look at me as the uncle, although I'm the cousin. So I'll have one conversation with the mom and then another conversation with the daughter, but I won't like bring the conversations to each other. We're not, so it's not like a gossiping thing. But that's one thing I think that we've started, and it hasn't necessarily come from the older generation, but that we kind of continue on. Just that check-in, making sure that I didn't even call to find out anything. I haven't seen you on Instagram in a while. I haven't seen you in the group chat. I'm just, how are you, cousin? Like, that's one of the things I greatly enjoy. How about your family?
I do feel like we do a similar thing where we're just kind of checking in on each other. I do feel like we see each other often, which is nice. So that does get to happen in person, but there's a couple of my cousins, especially, that like we do that kind of check in where we're just trying to make sure we're good. We'll call each other, see what's going on and stuff like that, just to keep that relationship kind of alive too, because we don't have to be seeing each other all the time to still be like having that relationship and checking in with each other. But it is nice. And then holidays are one of the ways that we get to do that at times and get to see each other and then rejoin and talk about the more serious stuff also too. So it is nice to have those like continued connections. And even though that might not be like a tradition, but it is something that like I want to start keeping alive more with more of my family members, just to make sure we don't drift in a way.
Right. So, well, me and my family, we've talked, when we were younger. Like now that we're older, we all like live separate lives. So we haven't really reached out like that to one another. And we still see each other like on social media, things like that. We'll reach out there, but it's not like how it used to be. So we used to, go to each other's houses, have the big family, like, dinners for like holidays and traditions and things like that. And then as we all got older, we all moved away. A lot of them live in Texas. We're still here. Some of them live in the Bronx or Brooklyn, but we don't really go over there. We'll just talk on the phone for the most part. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's different. We're not really seeing each other as often. We still know, like, we still talk to each other on social media, but not like that intimate like conversation. At least not anymore, really.
How do you feel about that?
It's sad. I mean, like, we grew up together, but like I was also the only girl. It was always like all my cousins they're all boys. So it's not like I can just, like when we were younger, like I would be always like playing with the boys. Like I wouldn't really like have anyone to like really talk to or like connect with like in that like way. So like growing up, like I would talk to like my older cousins who are like, the girls. So, like, now it sucks. Like, it's bad now. Like, you want to reach out, but everyone's living their own life. You don't, like, when to call, if now's a good time, now's not a good time. Like, what, reconnecting that.
Just
So,
do it.
yeah.
Sometimes you just got to
I mean,
do it.
sometimes I do. Like, again, like, social media, like, we're always there. It's like, I always see pictures of them. And, like, we'll say hi, things like that. And, go into a conversation. But other than that, like a consistent basis, not really. So, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, like I'm living my own life and I'm doing like a lot of things. I'm always busy, always doing something. So like, I'm not like ever like bored or like, anything like that, but every time we talk on the phone, then we'll just catch up and they'll ask me how I'm doing. I'll ask them how they're doing, and we know everything at that point.
It's good. Life is like, look, some people need to speak every day. Some people, you don't speak often, but it's as if you never stop talking. And,
Right.
One thing I love about my family, too, one thing that we started, too, is that we definitely get our kids together. So even if, like I said, the older generation have their issues going on, we have our issues going on, we try not to have our issues affect our kids. So we do plan stuff
Right.
for the kids, even though they drive us crazy, because the kids are great when they're by themselves. When they get around each other, it is like a bunch of batteries in the backs, and it's like
Right.
toys that won't stop. So
Right.
you would think they would occupy themselves, but they're like, it's almost like they're in cahoots. Like, how can we stress the parents out the most? But that's one thing that I genuinely enjoy that we do, and we did learn a little bit of that from the older generation. I will say, before they had their issues, like I said, we all grew up like we were brother and sister, although we're cousins.
Right.
So we are coming to an end of this episode. I've definitely enjoyed the talk. We like to leave with some quotes per se. So I guess Miss Jess can take the first one. I'll take the second one, and Miss Emily, who, by the way, I am.
Really?
You are gangster, all right, with the A at the end, all right? For the audience out there, that's a good thing, okay? We have gangsters at work. And in this line of work, you kind of have to be. But I have just found out some things. Like, first of all, so my brother's Italian, all right? You don't tell an Italian mom no. That's number one. Number two is an Italian not eating pork. That's just amazing, right?
Right.
And number three is like the fact that you're able to get her to cook something different and she accepts it is, that's something else. Emily's new, by the way, to nice it downstairs. And at first I was like, oh, she's probably too nice for this. After this, I'm like, you know what? She's good. She can handle herself. Anyway. Absolutely. So, first quote, Miss Jessica.
Okay. Tradition is the illusion of permanence.
Change does not change tradition. It strengthens it. Change is a challenge and an opportunity, not a threat.
Tradition is not the worship of ashes, but the preservation of fire.
That is a whole bunch of food for thought. You can take it how you will.